talks about with this mask and no mask fight is the fact that you can see the validity in both of these points of view. You don't have to pick a team and scream at everyone to be on that team or they're stupid. I know it's crazy, but you can actually see the validity and step back and be curious and understanding of why people are anti-mask and be understanding of why people are pro-mask. Because we've got two movies going on. Two movies going on. This is a Scott Adams phrase, and it's absolutely brilliant, and I watch him every day. He's who inspires me to try to speak out on this kind of reasonable, measured, looking at both sides type of perspective. Anyway, so there's two movies going on. In a pro-mask movie, pro-maskers are absolutely scared that they are going to get a disease, and they want a virus, and they want people to all be safe so that we can get back to a mask-free, virus-free world, right? Their movie is that the people who are refusing are doing so out of selfishness, idiocy, and this kind of faux rebellion type of thing. That's their movie. That's the movie they're in, and in their movie they are legitimately scared of this pandemic, and that's valid, absolutely. Okay. The other movie that's going on is that the anti-maskers, they actually are in several different camps, or there are different levels. Now, some of the anti-maskers simply, they believe that they believe there's a disease, they believe there's a virus, but they don't believe a mask is effective, and they believe that there's an element of control that's usurping the rights. So they're basically people who are thinking in the terms of, this could escalate, and I'm not going to give my consent early because this is only going to keep escalating and getting worse. So what they're doing is they're kind of living in a movie that's very much a dystopian novel, and they've also have looked at history, and things do start with these kinds of things that are made into law, and then gradually more and more liberties are taken from this one thing that's like for your own good, can escalate into, and then we only use credit cards only, and then we shut off your payments, and then we don't let you in this, and then we make you get a vaccine in order to travel, in order to work, in order to do really anything. So then they're seeing an element of control that reduces humans to a machine, to a easily controlled and easily killed, all kinds of things. But it's not sci-fi. This is a movie they see as real. And I also don't think it's sci-fi. I think anyone that has read a fair amount of dystopian novels, anyone who has read history, fact, would be alarmed and would be hesitant and would raise these concerns. Now, in their movie, and also within the anti-mask movie, there's that, but then there are other levels. There's levels that go into more of kind of the Bill Gates vaccine, and that's something you need to look into, because it's not, again, look at who's being gaslit and why. Why not be curious about a computer programmer who has had a lot of sketchy, shady humanitarian organizations that were not humanitarian, if you look into their lawsuits and things against them? It's worth looking into. I don't know why if it's instantly demonized, that's pretty much a red flag that, maybe this isn't a crazy conspiracy theory. Anyway, so there's levels of the anti-maskers. There's also levels that believe there's no pandemic at all. It's not just that they either believe that it's a scam-demic or a plan-demic, they'll use those words, or they believe that it's a minimal, or they believe it was a, bioengineered virus by Bill Gates that is meant to kill, but it didn't kill as many. There's so many ranges of kind of the anti-mask lens. And then there's also ranges in there that within that as well that have to do with the elephant in the room of child trafficking, and that being something that this is actually something that is about to become uncovered. These indictments, these sealed indictments, crimes against children by many elite figures, from Hollywood to political figures, and that as that's coming undone, the powers that be have used this virus to distract the public and get them to submit and be controlled as they're scrambling to have this hidden fight of being exposed in elite child trafficking rings and all other levels. There's so many levels to that. So there are so many different parameters. And I just want to say that the anti-mask and pro-mask fighting doesn't seem, both sides reduce the other to a villain. And they both demonize and then dehumanize. So that, to me, is problematic, because that's not persuasive, and we should be approaching things with a curiosity and desire to understand other people's points of view, instead of immediately assuming that on this weird tribalistic know-it-all kind of thing, they are so selfish and stupid. And both sides do it, because the anti-maskers reduce the pro-maskers to sheep who are compliant and who aren't thinking. Now, is that persuasive does that get somebody that's a pro-masker to be curious about your point of view? No. All it does is make them more defensive. Likewise, pro-maskers, when you just demonize and when you misrepresent the point of view of the anti-maskers and then argue with a misrepresentation of it, we see this all the time. This is the only way people actually ever argue, is they never represent actually an eloquent person's point of view on the opposite side. They always choose this very extreme and not based in reality. They're basically just kind of making up an attaching intent. They're mischaracterizing a point of view and arguing with that mischaracterization as if that is the representation of the view. Well, no, that's you arguing with yourself in order to feel smart and pat yourself on the back because you're so smug and you know so much. No. Both sides do this. Both sides do this. Now, that's the thing, is both sides can get facts for their case. And that's what we have to realize, is there's so much to wade through with knowing what is a fact and what is a fabrication. And one of the ways that's so horrible in this is that these types of articles that are telling you how to think about something rather than tell you facts. They're basically telling you, this is how you should feel about this, and this is how you should think about this based on how it's written. Now, as a writer myself, for me, that I've even seen just the titles of things will be completely different than the article. I mean, and a lot of people only read headlines. And so there's just all kinds of an insane amount of misinformation. And there's just people haven't comfort in, what does my tribe believe? What is our checklist? And I will go down that checklist and everything is, go team, evil team, hate them, go team. And both sides absolutely do this to their own detriment, because we are looking at each other with a level of contempt and disdain that is extremely frightening. I think that is the worst thing. It's so terrifying to see how the anti-maskers are being framed as the ultimate villain in a way that is full of contempt. There's no level of curiosity. There's no level of wanting to understand. And I do have to say that on the sides of the anti-maskers, I don't think there's as much contempt. I think there is contempt if they villainize the pro-maskers in such a way that they think they're aligned with the elite, but they tend to have contempt more for the celebrities on the side of the pro-mask, that kind of clout, whereas the normal people, they do reduce them to saying they're sheep. But to me it seems as though they don't quite have this level of disdain. And maybe that's false. I mean, I have no idea. I think there is a level of disdain and disrespect, of course, in reducing people to sheep, but I also think that that's their way of trying to wake up people to even just listen to their side of things. But that's no way, you don't put someone on the defensive if you want to persuade them. So it's ineffective and it's cruel. And this is the same thing that happened. This is happening with the mask and anti-mask, but this is happening with every single issue. For instance, with the George Floyd thing, everybody was on the same side when they saw that video. There was not, I know everyone likes to paint this idea that the right saw that video and immediately started saying all lives matter. I didn't see that. I didn't see that. I saw that everyone was like, this is so problematic, police brutality. And then I saw things as it started to go into the new tribes of how we should feel about this, and you have to show that you are this, you have to do these actions if you want to show you're on the team. And so that's the thing, is everything is reduced to a checklist on your team, and you're never the villain in your own story, and there's always this Disney villain level caricature that you're imagining they're saying these things that are horrible, and then you think, well, if they're horrible, and thus I am justified in being horrible. There's this idea of they're full of disdain for me, and they're full of contempt for me, that I am mind reading and attaching this intent on them, and therefore, because I perceive that they are contemptuous, I'm allowed to be contemptuous because it's a righteous rage. No. There is not, when you are justifying your level of contempt by saying that somebody else is contemptuous toward you, all that is projection. That is, sorry, you can't read someone's mind, and you cannot attach intent to a monolith. There's been this level of, I will be sanctimonious, certain, and contemptuous because these people, well, they're not people. They're very evil and stupid and worthy of contempt. No. That way of thinking is absolutely the ugly shadow that has led to the worst horrors of the world. And I mean horrors. And that's what I find just extremely frightening, because we are no longer giving people the benefit of the doubt and aiming to understand their point of view. Instead, we are misrepresenting their point of view and arguing with that misrepresentation. And then we are attaching intent, imagining what is in their head, imagining these evil motives, imagining selfish motives, and imagining idiocy. And that's just simply not the truth. We need to be able to look, I think there's a quote about the mark of an intelligent person, a mindful person, is being able to entertain thoughts without accepting them. Well, you can look at both of these lenses of whether it's the pro-mask, anti-mask, whether it's, and all sorts of, this is what we're focused on today, but the pro and anti-mask, but you can look at those and they can both be valid. I can look at the pro-mask person and be like, absolutely valid. And I can look at an anti-mask and be like, absolutely valid. They're both bringing up very good points that are worth considering. They are not worth dismissing. There's no, this amount of like, I'm certain that I'm right is problematic. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what the truth is right now. We're in it right now. We're not looking back. We will later have the benefit of retrospect and be able to look back and be like, well, I knew this. Well, you don't know it now. You don't know anything now. And it's worth being curious over sanctimonious. If you could just if you could just get past the fact that not everybody is a villain and that you can be the villain in your own story even, and open your mind to realize that actually people are looking out by bringing up these concerns. There is really a level of, let's give them the benefit of the doubt, both of them, because all of them are looking out for the best of humanity, and what they're viewing in their movie is genuine fear. They're not evil masterminds. Both sides truly, whether they're afraid of this government control and this scenario of vaccines, that's a legitimate fear and that's valid. And it's based on fact. It's not based on being crazy, and they don't deserve to be gaslit. Meanwhile, the people who are worried about the pandemic and getting a virus, they are absolutely also valid and not worthy of being gaslit. Both sides are truly afraid and trying to do the right thing, but both of them are too busy lecturing each other and demonizing each other to see that actually we are all worthy of having our opinions heard, understood, and approached with a level of curiosity and not this sanctimony. So, I just wanted to rant about this. I wouldn't call it a rant. I would call it a discussion, an analysis. And thank you for listening.